Sens has the lowest pick rate out of any operator right now, lower than even operators like Blackbeard, Caveira, and Clash. But why is this the case? Well, first of all, people don't like to play bad operators. That much is obvious. So to find out why Sens' pick rate is so low, we need to understand why Sens is bad in the first place. Because if you didn't know, Sens is pretty terrible. Well, the first instinct of many players is, could it be the Sens has a bad loadout? Sometimes people don't play operators even if their gadget is good, because the primary gun doesn't feel good to use. Operators like Pulse and Kali, for example, suffer from this issue. Kali's gun sucks to use because it's a sniper that you can't really use at close range, while Pulse has one of the worst SMGs in the entire game. Well, when it comes to Sens, the short answer to is Sens' loadout bad is no. To show you why, let's look at Sledge's gun. Sledge's gun is an example of a perfectly balanced gun. Easy to control recoil, average fire rate, good damage, and also good scopes. So I'll be using it as the benchmark for this video. If an AR is worse than this gun, it's typically seen as a bad gun. Guns like Blackbeard AR and the FMG9, just to name a few. Guns that are better than Sledge's AR are typically seen as good guns. Guns like Thermite AR, which is literally just Sledge's gun, but with a tiny bit better stats. Guns like the R4C and the ARX, just to name a few. So using Sledge's gun as the benchmark, where does Sens' POF9 stand? Well, it actually is pretty equal and even slightly better than Sledge's gun in my opinion. For example, Sledge's gun has 670 fire rate, whereas the PF9 actually has 740 fire rate. It does have less damage, but has pretty similar recoil as well, with 50 bullets compared to Sledge's less bullets. It also still has very easy to control recoil after they actually buffed it, and it has good scopes as well. So it's not this gun. And the 417 is one of, if not the best DMR in the entire game. The SDP is a pretty solid pistol if you've ever played Mozzie. And Sens also brings frag grenades or hard breaching charges if you're playing Vert. So it is definitely not Sens' loadout that is the issue with Sens. Okay, well if it's not Sens' loadout, it has to be the concept of Sens' ability, right? Some operators, no matter how they're nerfed, are still played because of the pure concept of their ability. Operators like Jaeger, Jackal, or Dokkaebi, to name a few. Jaeger's been nerfed to the ground and people still play Jaeger because it's an ADS. Jackal has been nerfed as well, but people still play Jackal because of the concept of Jackal's ability. The same thing with Dokkaebi. Now the exact same thing can be said for bad abilities as well. Sometimes it's not how much damage an ability does or how long it lasts, some ability concepts are just bad. Like Tachanka before the rework, or Caveira. No matter how many times they buffed those operators, they still maintain a bad spot in most people's tier lists. And that brings me into the actual sponsor of today's video, Raid Shadow Legends. Raid Shadow Legends is a huge game right now. It's got 4 million users, 250 million downloads, 100 plus champions, 16 factions, 1 million plus builds, and over 30 bosses. They constantly update the game. It's got 4.5 star reviews, and it's cross-platform, and you can play with your friends. So it's actually like a pretty good game. Not only is it a good game, but you can actually get some pretty good rewards as well. Because right now, Raid Shadow Legends is celebrating the arrival of the Spring and Teleria Hunt. This brings a Spring Hunt minigame starting from April 15th and ends at May 30th. Players need to find hidden items around the Mistwood. Make sure that you download Raid using my link and QR code. Then head to springhuntpolarium.com, enter your Raid ID, and start searching for missing items there. And if you download the game using my link in the description, you have a chance of winning a gaming console or Amazon gift cards that equate to a total of $10,000. That's a lot of money, my friends. And the best part about it is this game is free. You don't have to pay money to get money. And you support the channel at the same time. Not only is the Spring Hunt really cool, but another thing that's going on in the game right now is the Community Weeks. This is multiple in-game activities for all players. It's a 14-day loyalty program that also gives a free legendary Chronicler Adeline. To get Adeline, just log in for 7 days between April 11th and July 8th, and you'll be able to get this champion. She's a top-tier support who can put an enemy to sleep without even hitting them. And like I said, the Spring Hunt and Community Weeks are two separate events that just overlap, so make sure you check out Raid Shadow Legends between the dates that I said in the video to get full access to not only this cool game, but also the rewards that you might be able to win if you use my link down below. Not only do you have a chance to win these prizes if you click my link, but you'll also get a huge starter pack with the epic champion Tayrell. And you'll get another starter pack after you reach level 25 and play the game a little bit with the epic Rector Draft champion. After downloading the game via my link, you can use the code SPRINGHUNT24 to get even more rewards. So, With this link, you're getting a lot of rewards for absolutely free. It's absolutely amazing. You don't have to pay a dime, and you have the chance to win a bunch of money, a gaming console, a bunch of in-game rewards. Why not do it? It's free. It's free. Make sure as well that you join my clan. Here's the clan name right here. So just hit my link in the description and you can play the game with me. Let's go hit the battlefield together. Personally, I think the game is pretty fun. When I first got it, I grinded all the way to level 13 to actually make a clan, and it took me 2 hours. I was locked in. So if you haven't started playing yet, then what are you waiting for? Click my link in the description or scan my QR code to get insane bonuses only available in my link. And I want to thank Raid Shadow Legends again for sponsoring this video. So is Sen's ability concept just so bad that no matter how they buff Sens, they will never be viable? Actually, not really. I don't think Sen's actually needs a full-on rework, something like Tachanka. And I don't think Sen's ability concept is bad either, something like Cav. It just needs a few buffs. Let me explain. In my opinion, Sens doesn't need a rework, like I said. The issue with Sens and why Sens is so bad is because there's just way too much utility that actually counters Sens. Let's take a look at an ability that is good, but still balanced, which would be Thermite. This ability is strong, as it gives attackers a huge advantage when used. Being able to open up a reinforced breach and having a huge line of sight onto anybody in the bomb site, so you can get free kills, pressure people out of common positions like rafters, or to get the plant down right here. Whereas without Thermite or a hard breach in general, you would not have been able to do that. So like I said, this ability is strong as it gives attackers a huge advantage when used, but it still requires skill to use, and it has noticeable counters like Bandit, Cade, Impact Tricking, and Turbo. Sens has twice or even 3 times as many counters as Thermite. All of those counters for a much less impactful gadget than a Thermite breach. It can be countered by projectile catching gadgets, Mute, Warden, pre-firing, hitting the wall wrong, impact grenades, or literally any type of explosion from the defense or even from the attack onto your ROU. That's a lot of counters. Way too many. Not only is that a lot of counters, but compared to smoke grenades, Sens doesn't seem to be worth it over half the time. A smoke grenade doesn't get countered by Mute, hitting the wall wrong, impact grenades, or random explosions, and it still gets the job done. Now, when you bring smoke grenades on an operator, you only get 2, while on Sens, you get 4 projectors, so that's at least something in favor of Sens. At the very least, you can use Sens' gadget to burn utility for other things too, like Jaeger ADSs, Wamai discs, or Aruni gates. But even then, all you need for that is flash grenades, or EMPs, or any other secondary utility that allows you to bring another primary ability on an operator. So Sens, to me and most other players, is just never really worth it. And I think that is the main crucial issue as to why nobody is playing Sens. Sens doesn't bring anything new or unique to the table. What you can do with Sens, you can do with other secondary gadgets, and still have another primary gadget on top of that with a different operator as well. So Sens is a waste of an operator. That is the main issue as to why Sens is not played. Now that might be the main reason, but there's many other reasons as well that are just as important. First, let's go over the skill required to play Sens. Sens has a high skill floor, meaning you have to be very good at the game before you can be good at Sens, whereas an operator like Sledge takes almost 0 previous game knowledge to be good at. He has a low skill floor. For Sens, you have to make lineups with Sens for Sens to be viable at all. If you don't, the wall will never really go where you plan it to, at least most of the time. Why would players take a 50-50 chance on the ability working where they want it to, when they can bring a smoke grenade that will go where they want 100% of the time? Even if you have lineups that you have that guaranteed will go where you want, you have to make and learn those lineups in the first place, which takes time, and most players ain't doing all that, bro. We have high silvers and low gold as the average player base, so that's just not happening. Not only that, but it takes time to line up your lineup, which exposes you to anyone looking at the place you're sending the smokes from, like a doorway or an archway or head holes. It's just way too high risk for such low reward, such high skill for so little payout. To show you this, I've actually brought you in-game on the Cafe, which is one of Sens' best maps. Now, I actually do have some Sens lineups here. I have a lineup that actually cuts all the way across just like this to cut off the rotate, the archway, the doorway here, and the feet holes here if you're trying to get a plant down in the bar plant right here. This is what it looks like. This Sens lineup makes it to where, if I want to plant right here, I can do so without having to worry about any angles. Here's the thing though, they can easily push up and take space, and then pre-fire me if I do that. I can have people covering me, it doesn't really matter, but that's not the main point. The main point of that is that took me a few minutes to go into the map and find out. Like, I had to spend time to learn that. I didn't learn that in game, and most people aren't going to do that either. Even then, if I want to put this down, I have to be sure that heaven is clear. There's no one on the rotate. There's no one on the reinforced wall swinging my door. There's no one behind this bar, or on the long bar. That's a lot to make sure, and I don't want to have to send a drone all the way through to clear those angles just to send a glorified smoke grenade through. It's not worth it. So if I don't drone it, then there might be somebody here that shoots me when I'm rolling a smoke grenade, and it's a lot slower than a normal smoke grenade you might just throw somewhere like that, because you can easily just peek and throw it, right? Just like that. That's very quick. With the Sens gadget, you have to sit here and line it up. You have to make sure, okay, it's not going to hit the doorway. Okay, it's not going to bounce off the floor in a weird direction. Okay, now I got to roll it. Now I got to make sure I'm lined up in the right spot, right? So you have to like kind of sit here and shimmy and then throw it. And that is just so unsafe. You're going to get shot a lot of the times. It's just not worth it. Just bring a smoke grenade instead. There's no point in bringing Sens, which is why Sens is such a bad operator. Now this brings me into the second part of this video. Not only does Sens have a low pick rate, but Sens also has a low win rate. Looking back at this graph here, Sens is so low on the x-axis, meaning that Sens isn't picked at all. But also Sens is the lowest attacker on the y-axis, the win rate, meaning Sens isn't won with at all either, for console and for PC by the way. So not only do I hold the opinion that Sens is bad, but people in the highest elo in the game, which is what this graph is, don't even play the operator, and when they do, they lose more than on any other. So now that you understand why Sens is bad, and why people don't play Sens, what are some possible solutions? The best solution they could do for Sens, again, isn't a full rework, but to just get rid of a few of their counters. There's no reason that Sens should get countered by explosions at all. That just doesn't make sense. It's a smoke wall. If you have to make it to where it doesn't project things that can be countered by explosions, do that. I don't care. It shouldn't get countered by an impact grenade. If they took that out of the game, that would be fine. That might honestly be enough, but I don't think it is. So here's a few other things we can do. Because of the way that Sens' gadget is unpredictable in where it's going, they need to implement a way to tell exactly where the wall is going to go to. I think that visible throw trajectory was a step in the right direction, so you can at least see where it's going to land, but it needs to show you a line actually of where it's going to go, kind of like a Viper wall in Valorant. This takes away one of the hardest parts about Sens. It decreases the skill floor that I talked about earlier of the operator, and making it to where no one will need to learn lineups for the operator. This makes it to where new players can learn Sens, or make it to where people who are already good can learn Sens faster, which would make the opinion of Sens go up and increase the pick rate, making people play the operator more and get better at the operator, which would also increase the win rate as well. Optionally, they could make the wall do damage when inside of it instead. This would bring an alternative to Capitao, as you could just throw your wall at people and flush them out of positions, which opens up many more possibilities for the operator, making it more versatile and again, more picked. It would also still blind them all the same, so it would be a good 2-for-1 operator, and because there's 4 ROUs, you would have the ability to use Sens for multiple different purposes without wasting the gadget. It also punishes people who just run through your smoke to counter you, because they're going to take damage. If they did this to balance Sens, they should probably just take away the 4th ROU that they just gave Sens when they buffed Sens a while ago, but that's a conversation for a different day. The balancing team can be doing that. They can also combine what I said earlier with what I said now, making Sens really, really powerful, but I don't know that that would be a good idea either. Now, how do I know that buffing Sens instead of just reworking Sens would actually work? Well, let's take a look at another operator that had the same exact thing happen to them. Twitch. If you don't know, Twitch drones weren't actually always able to jump. You would have to just drive them around. It made Twitch a lot less versatile and a lot harder to use the gadget, and made it to where you couldn't hide them in as many places, which made Twitch just a lot worse. Whenever they gave Twitch drones the ability to jump, it made Twitch more versatile. You're able to hide Twitch drones in harder spots. You're able to get more utility because you can jump it. It stays alive longer, and it made Twitch just a better operator. They also didn't have rechargeable infinite tasers. Twitch, for this reason, wasn't always the strongest, unless you're just countering her a great gun. After they tweaked her gadget a bit, like I just talked about, tweaked, not reworked by the way, she became a lot more viable, and now Twitch is a great and balanced operator. So we know from experience that making a gadget less counterable and more flexible works. And I don't think that would be any different with Sens. It even works reversible. Mira was a very versatile operator, very good operator that almost had no counters. Now you can melee the glass and counter it with Callie and Ashe, making it a lot harder to use Mira, but Mira's still a great operator. So we know that slightly nerfing and buffing the amount of counters to a gadget or the versatility to a gadget definitely makes the gadget better. And like I said, if the issue with Sens is that they're not versatile enough and they have too many counters, all you literally have to do is take that away from them. Make it to where they don't have as many counters and they're more versatile, and that would completely fix Sens and make it to where Sens would be played a lot more and not be the lowest pick rate operator in the entire game, and also be won with a lot more and not be the lowest won with operator in the entire game. But with that out of the way, my name's Alka. Check out this next video and I hope we'll see you there. Later.